Oui, donc merci d'arriver dans notre channel qui s'appelle Frenchy avec Karen ou Frenchy with Karen. Je peux voir qu'il y a beaucoup de personnes qui apprécient mon channel, donc je suis très contente de voir votre support et votre soutien. Donc après ça, je pense que je dois créer plus de vidéos pour tout le monde. Mais si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez mentionner sur la vidéo dans une section qui s'appelle Comment Section. Now, if that did not make sense to you, that's completely okay. So basically, thank you so much for coming back to my channel again. And today we will be talking about the reading and writing section. Again, if you have any specific questions that you want me to answer, you can always mention your questions like in the comment section below. Or if you want, you can always email me. So you would be able to get my email address underneath this video in the description. So be sure to check it out. Also, I have mentioned like some of the links to my Instagram channels. So I'm currently hosting this YouTube channel, which is called Frenchy with Karen. But at the same time, I'm also doing a literature channel, which is called Shruti Karen. So you would be able to find the links to all of those things in the description below. So do take the time to take a look at those or have a quick review once you've watched this video. So I'm guessing that you've come back to this channel again because you found the previous videos helpful. But if you didn't, you can of course check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. So again, as usual, in front of me, I've got a series of notes that I've written for myself so that I don't miss out on any key points when I'm mentioning anything related to the reading and writing paper in this video. So in my previous video, which was, I believe, the first video that came out on this channel, we've talked about the overview of like the French AS level syllabus, where we talked about like the three major components. So again, on the right-hand side of this video, you'd be able to see a nice little like an aid tool, which is called like PowerPoint. So if you can't follow up or you can't catch up the speed with me, you don't have to worry because everything that I'm going to say is going to be shown on the screen with you so that you can see it both simultaneously and you'll be able to get a better understanding of it. So for component number 2, which is the thing we will be discussing in this video, is like the reading and writing paper. So usually, as I've mentioned previously, it is a paper which is about 1 hour and 45 minutes, and it will comprise of 70 marks. So I just wanted to reiterate in this video what that paper really is and what you should be generally expecting. So as I've mentioned previously, the reading and writing paper will be like 2 passages, and both of those passages will not exceed 750 words. So you don't have to panic too much because you won't be seeing like 1,000 pages or like 1,000 words of like passages. So that's completely fine. So it's very important, I would say, one of the biggest tips that I would give students or anyone who's taking the exam, or if you've taken the exam before, I think it should be very obvious that you should try and keep French learning very active in your life. So whether it be like listening to a French radio or perhaps even reading like French stories or maybe like French news articles. Now in my future videos, I will be showing you weekly basis news, but they'll be very short and concise because I do know that most of you who are watching this video are not like a very advanced users of French, and it will take some time to develop it. Obviously, it's not something which is very instant, so it will take time and it's completely normal. So another tip I want to mention is like for the first section of this reading and writing paper, you would be able to see like 5 different words, and those 5 words are basically synonyms. So you've got to find synonyms of those words in the first passage. Now, bear in mind that whatever part of speech that you see for every single word, basically you need to find a word that has the same part of speech. Par exemple, si vous avez voir le verbe voir, donc tu dois rechercher s'il y a des synonymes pour cet verbe voir dans le premier passage. So if you see the word voir and you feel like, okay, this is a verb. I need to find a verb which is similar to the verb voir. Then we're going to look at the first passage, and then probably we'll see regarder. And regarder is basically quite similar to voir, unless you find another better synonym. So you're going to write regarder underneath voir. Now, if this is too difficult to catch up, don't worry, everything's right here, so you don't have to panic. If at any point you feel like this video is too fast for you, you can always pause and replay it. Now, you would see like such sort of, so exactly what I said, it's going to be repetitive for 5 times, and you've got to find like basically every word you have to find a synonym. So in total of that 5 questions, you'll just get 5 synonyms. So usually this is one of the most easiest section of this paper. Again, if you're like a new, if you just enter into like the AS level examination, I know it's difficult. It will come with time, so it's okay. Now the second section of this component is called as like the grammatical sentence structures. So you will see a particular sentence structure and you'd have to like reform it into like a different way so that it sounds the same thing. Now, I will not be giving examples here in this video because that really takes time, and I will create a separate video for that. Because in this video, again, I just want to focus on like the reading and writing paper in general. So it's a very generalization video. Now the third section of this component is called as the question and answer pour le premier passage. So in the first passage, you have to read it and you've got to answer, let's say around 5 to 6 long questions. And of course, there is a series of way on how you should be answering it. Which again, I will create a separate video for that. But then the general idea is that you will get 15 marks for all the answers that you give. And there's an additional 5 marks for like your language. Now, how are you graded? Like, how does the marker know how much you should be getting out of that 5 marks for your language? Now, that depends on your sentence structure, your grammatical mistakes, and how accurate your answers are. So if your answers are overall quite accurate, there are some like silly mistakes, but there isn't a lot. So the frequency of the silly mistakes is like comparatively quite less. Then without a doubt, you'd be getting 5 out of 5. But I would say in most of the cases, you would just get 4 out of 5 because the markers are quite harsh, I would say. Now, for the fourth section of this component is a replication of like the third section. But the difference is you've got to read the second passage and you've got to answer 5 questions, 5 to 6 long questions. And again, that's 15 marks in total with an additional 5 marks for like your language and grammatical mistakes, literally the same thing. And then the last part of this entire paper is one of the most daunting, overwhelming, and the most scariest part, I'm going to say, because in that one, you've got to, it depends. Like most of the students would reread the like first and second passage, and then they'll ask you a question in the last section. For example, let's say both of your passages, so like the first passage is talking about the pros of la chirurgie plastique, so plastic surgery, the pros. And the second paragraph is talking about the disadvantages, the cons of plastic surgery. Then in the last section, they'll probably ask you, what are the pros and cons? Like, can you summarize it? So that's where you have to read the first passage, the second passage, and extract out the advantages, disadvantages, and merge them together to make a summary. Now, please be reminded, you only have to write 10 points. If you write more than that, I think that's great, but then there is a word limit, so please be careful. I believe the word limit is around 140 words. So let's say if you're like writing a lot of points because you just want to get 10 out of 10 for your content for the last section, I don't think that's a very good idea because you have to save at least some words, you know, for your personal opinion as well, because in the last section, not only you have to summarize for part A, but for part B, you need to give your personal opinion. So I would say, even though you're writing down your 10 points, you're summarizing 10 points, it needs to be very concise. There is a specific way to do that, but then we will not delve into that right now. The idea is you just have to be as cautious as possible when you're trying to do the last section. I believe that this was all of the tips that I wanted to share. I really hope you found this video very helpful. I do know that a lot of people were telling me that the speaking video was very helpful, and there were some people who contact me asking me about the tutoring sections. Um, I I would really appreciate if you like tutoring sections. You can always email me at my email address. Um, and you can also watch my current videos first before you really ask me something that I've already mentioned. So try and watch the entire video before you ask me a question, because otherwise it could be very repetitive for me to repeat over and over again on the same channel. So be very careful with what you're asking and make sure that your question is not answered in the video before you ask it in the comment section below. Nevertheless, I really appreciate all of your support, and I'm more than happy to help you if anything is very confusing. I really hope you found this video very, very helpful, and if you did, you can of course subscribe my channel because it really takes a lot of effort to create all these videos. And you can give a like and share it with your friends and family and whoever might be taking the AS level French exam. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Till then, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!